I always say I'm gonna put it on silent. I never do. I never do. Hi there and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Julia, and in today's clip I'm actually gonna do what I would like to say a kind of fun series, whatever. I'm basically trying to, kind of think of myself if I'll go to Neversea festival, because this is what this clip is about, what I would do for my makeup. So basically it's just like kind of a version of what I would wear at that festival and kind of what looks I'm going for. I haven't been to Neversea festival, so yeah, it's just me imagining myself going to the festival. I would definitely emphasize on blues. I love blue lipstick, I love blue eyeshadow, although so many people tell me don't use blue on blue eyes, and I'm like, sometimes you have to break the rules. So today is the bold lips version. I've done also an eye bold version, which I'm gonna link around somewhere here. I'm gonna do also my face in this clip, although I've done my face in the other one as well. But I changed a bit the product so it won't get too boring. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say today. I think we should just jump in. Yeah, so I'm gonna start with my face this time. I usually do start with my face when I keep my eyes very simple. If you do see the other bold eye thingy, you will see I started with my eyes first. I'm gonna use this primer from The Ordinary, Hydration Silicone Primer. It's really cheap, really nice. It doesn't break me out, so I'm using it. Also, I'm using it with a brush because one thing that it annoys me is very silicone-y to the point that if I apply it with my hands, it's slippery. And this is a really cheap primer. I think it's like £3 or something like that. So I kind of like afford the also price of it. This time when it comes to my face, I'm gonna combine two foundations because I used this one before, but it's too light. Maybe on camera it doesn't pick up, but in real life I look dead. So I'm taking just a tiny bit on the back of my hand, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in shade Golden Beige, and taking a bit more of the Revolution Conceal and Define in F2. I personally really like Wet n Wild much more, but the lighter version of it, I have it all the way back to Romania. So to be quite fair, it does change the consistency of this one in a better sense, because I don't like how it sits on my face. I don't know, I feel it sits too much on top of my face, where in time it kind of like fades away. But it's not that bad, but not too good for like a very long time wear, if that makes sense. In this clip I'm using a brush. I'm not like a person very keen on brushes, but I do find them very easy to apply with because you don't have to go with the sponge and wet it, and that's pretty much it. That it annoys me because you always have to wet it, and with a brush you don't need that. So changing a bit the application of the makeup. And I'm using this brush from Real Techniques, Expert Face brush, yeah. And never forget about the neck, because otherwise you will be able to see the difference. So the only place I really hate with the brush is on my nose. It gets very streaky, and I mean, it's not necessarily the fault of the brush. If you don't have it clean and you had used it like I did 4 or 5 times, the bristles are very like sticking to one another and makes your foundation look very streaky. So that's the one thing I really don't like about brushes, because you always have to make sure they're clean. But I would recommend, if you go to that festival, at least clean your brushes before, so you have like a clean brushes to work with, because you might work with color and it's better to have them clean. Moving on with the powder. This is where I'm changing a bit the game. I got this palette from Revolution. Is the one in collaboration with Imogen from Imagination. I never heard of her too much until she had this collaboration with Makeup Revolution, and I really genuinely love this palette. When I saw it I was like, oh my god, yes, because basically you have free options when it comes to highlighters, free options when it comes to contouring, and these three shades, which this one works amazing as a setting powder, which I'm gonna use now after I use my under eye concealer because I forgot about that. And this shade is really nice for blush. It's supposed to be for, you know, deeper, darker skin tones as a setting powder, but like highlighting setting powder sort of. But I tried it as a blush. It works perfectly fine. I love it. So let me just prime my eyes. Also prime my eyes because I'm priming my eyes with this liquid camouflage from Catrice, but for the sake of this clip I'm gonna use it as an under eye concealer too. I like the Revolution concealer Define more just because it doesn't have perfume as much as this one. Right, so again with a brush we are stamping, then actual dragging. Be careful with this area because wrinkles are coming if you drag really harshly. Like, you have to be really careful with this area. Not gonna lie, this brush is not the worst to blend the area. Yeah, it's not as good as a sponge. Nothing is as good as a sponge, personally, I feel. But it's alright, like, I go with this kind of side like this. So now quickly setting my under eye area with the shade Pretty Heart. And I'm just going with my gel as well. Gel? And I'm stamping rather than dragging. I like stamping more than dragging. I find it puts the actual powder in place rather than dragging it around. I'm not the pressed powder kind of a person, but these ones are really nice. They're not very, it doesn't make my face really, I don't know, cakey. That's the word. Now I'm gonna go with the contour shade in Literally. I like this one. It's cool toned but not too cool. I kind of like to go or either with this one or kind of like combine the two of them because they just work out perfectly fine for my skin tone. So yeah, for the sake of this clip I'm just gonna go like this a bit. And I'm using an angle brush. This is from Poundland and it's quite a nice brush, so if you're staying in the UK, be aware. Some of the brushes from there are really good. And because I'm not into harsh contour like I was saying, I always go with my foundation brush or with my foundation sponge and kind of like dab around so I make sure it's kind of settled in the skin like it's my legit natural, you know, contour. Now let's go with the highlight. Same brush, same palette. I think I'm gonna go with Face Angel just because I like limited edition. It's very blinding, but I used white highlighter in the other clip, so you know, switching a bit the game using Angel Face. And one thing I must say about these highlighters, because I used them before, they don't stick that well to the face. If they kind of fade away, and what I would recommend is to actually, I'm trying to get it, is to use a setting spray. Because with the setting spray, it will stick much better to your skin. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't, you know, bad, but it's just for how blinding it is at the beginning when you put it in time, it kind of fades away. And I'm a bit harsh as well because the time I was wearing it, it was on wedding day. It was very hot, like I was sweating like crazy. Everything lasted except this, so that's why I feel to be safe, just use a setting spray. It is what it is. It's a very affordable palette. It's only £10, so I'm not expecting, you know, to be like an ultra highlighter, which is like 10 quid for like this much, like this tiny. It's a lot, but it's really good. So I realized when I was doing my thumbnail, I forgot to use the blush. the shade Cayute. So basically what I do is I have this fluffy brush, so I do 1-2 swipes and you know, just kind of like go like this. And again, I can't believe I forgot about the blush. So you can see the difference is it's over there, but it's not like a huge difference, just because personally I don't like having a very out there blush. That's why even sometimes I forget to put blush on my face like I did today. But thank God I reminded myself, because for some reason it just popped into my head. I was like, oh my god, blush, that's what I was missing. So yeah, if you want like a more fun kind of a highlight, this would be an option. This is from Sleek Makeup. I'm sorry it's so dirty, but I quite use it. It's the Disordered Dreams highlight palette, and it kind of like looks like this because it's been very loved and used. I really love this shade, which is the most wearable one from all of them, but these ones are creams. This is like a pinky highlighter sort of shade, green, this is blue, and this is like peach kind of a undertone. So you know, I sometimes do use them with my hand, but I kind of like get it and like tap tap tap, and then after that put like, I don't know, maybe this one on top or this one on top, or maybe not even anything on top. It's just how I feel. But to make sure, you know, I kind of include this one in the clip, I'm gonna use it on my lips because I do that as well. Now we are going with the eyes, and I think this is really funny to use because this is the Riviera palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, who she is from Constanza. Never sees that Constanza, so we might as well just use it. I did not use this for the bold eyes just because I wished it had more blues in it. As you can tell, it only has Seychelles, which is a turquoise kind of a shade. Mediterranean is more on the purpley side. This is more on the ashy kind of side, so there's no, you know, bright blue in here, which I wished it would have been, but that's fine. I'm gonna work with that one this time, because you know, you can also achieve like a more fun kind of a eye color. And now I'm gonna use shade Estate to kind of like prime my eyes. Estate is a more peachy sort of shade, so it's not kind of my skin tone, but I don't mind that because it's not to the point that it kind of like gets the attention to the eye too much, so I'm putting it all over. And now I'm gonna go with shade Palm, just because, no, I'm actually gonna go with Coastline because I don't want to have a very harsh brown into my crease, but I'm still gonna use it probably because I want a bit of a smoke around there. So I'm gonna go with this shade in the crease. Yeah, it doesn't make too much of a difference. I have no idea if, oh, actually wait, let's go get closer to each other. So I'm not quite sure how much of a difference it makes. It actually does. It makes it a bit more poppy because it is the kind of like same undertone as Estate. It's just more on the orangey side. So we're just gonna put that in the crease. To change a bit the brow game, I'm gonna use a pomade and a brush. The only thing I would say is you need a spoolie. I really love having a spoolie to, you know, brush my brows. So what I do is do a line over here and then just go and do a line over there as well, and kind of like drag it like that, and kind of do strokes like this. And I always like to go with a eyebrow gel mascara, just because I feel it sets my everything in place and gives me a bit more volume than I actually have. But I still go with the spoolie from the actual brush to brush everything through, because the actual brow brush from the actual this thing, it holds too much product, so to some extent it just leaves too much product in one place sometimes, and I don't like that. I'm going with this shade Palm with the other side of the brush, because yes, I do use the brush from the palette. I don't understand people who complain about these brushes. They're really good. Don't understand. So I'm gonna just put a teeny tiny bit at the end, and kind of like drag it into the crease, but to the point where it's like that, and then I brush it through. And now I'm going back again with a state just on my lid, just a tiny bit, like that. Also on top of the brown, because I want to be, like I said, not too harsh. Going again with coastline underneath my eye. So I'm doing now a winged eyeliner with this liner from Rimmel London. I use this one because it has a flat part where it kind of like works as a stamp. So I do this and drag it a bit, and then I kind of like work with that. Here we go. I mean, I can have that times, like hard times with these bad boys, but with that eyeliner, it's very rare to happen. So I'm gonna use this tiny mascara from Benefit this time. They are real. I like this mascara. I got it actually from a magazine, so I was quite lucky. I like it, it's small and it makes my lashes really fluffy. It's not spiky. I like that kind of a mascara. My eyelashes are the smallest of them all, and this mascara making some justice of not making them look small anymore. Right, so you can tell my face is very subtle, very natural, very like boring, if you would ask me. You know, I mean, it's cute. I have the blinding highlight, which kind of like compromises the natural kind of vibes. I get it. Some people pull it off like this way and they're good to go, but for myself, because I'm obsessed of being a bit more awkward and weird and just weird, I do love blue lipsticks. It's one of my first ever lipsticks of a weird color that I have ever encountered, and I love it. Definitely get yourself like a eyeliner crayon. I have this one from Ada. I use it as a lip liner. It's easier to kind of like make sure you don't over go on your lips, so I'm gonna do that first. This one from MAC, it's in shade Matte Royale. It is the first lipstick in a blue shade I ever got, so it is very special to my heart, but the formula, it's a bit shitty. It crumbles a lot during the time you wear it. It crumbles to the point that it's not like a nice fade on your lips. No, it literally kind of like scratches off and goes around your mouth. So you have to be extra careful with it. This one from Maybelline, it's Maybelline New York Color Sensation. It's a bit darker than the one from MAC Cosmetics, so that's why I'm not hugely in love with this one, but it's definitely cheaper than the other one. I think the other one was like 16 pounds, while this one is around 5 quid, so you know, do the maths, it's really cheap. So this is in shade Midnight Blue. It's from the Bold kind of like collection. This one, it doesn't crumble, and when it fades away from your lips, it kind of fades away really nicely, so you still have some color underneath. To stick with the darker ones, I'm gonna go this time with the NYX Liquid Suede in the shade Jet Set. I think this is much more similar to the one from MAC, but it's much more brighter. It is a very nice formula. I feel it's more moisturizing, but the only thing I would say with liquid lipsticks, it's harder to reapply them during the day. I feel I just go with this and be like duh, 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 and that's fine, but with liquid lips, I feel you need to be careful with the application, with how it goes around. It's runny, so I feel that's why I really like more kind of like old-fashioned format rather than a liquid. But it also is very long lasting, but at the same time you eat, so yeah, be aware. I do use my phone usually to kind of like look into the camera and reapply it. Now I'm still gonna go with a NYX Liquid Suede lipstick in shade Little Denim Dress. What I really want to say about this lipstick though is that it is a little bit too bright even for myself. So I'm gonna show it to you how it looks without actually any kind of like fading around the edges, but I do tend to fade it away with another one. I like it. I did wear it before like this, but sometimes I'm like, oh my god, this is too much. So when I'm like, oh my god, this is too much, which is very often, I'm just gonna do this. And it makes a huge difference. It really does. It gives me a kind of a fade over there, and it's not like boom in your face. So I kind of like that combination. I think this one, it's a really nice shade, the one from MUA, but it's sad you can't find it in Romania. So it's just if you have some friends in the UK, maybe they can pull it off for you from a Superdrug, because it's really cheap. I think this one was like £4 or something like that. It is my second bottle. You're gonna see how dope it looks on its own. So let's just go with this bad boy. I use this one so much. I always got compliments on this shade. Probably that's why I really love it so much. Like, it was like four times where basically I had people stopping me on the street and be like, oh, that's a really lovely shade, it really suits you. And I'll be like, okay. This is a recent discovery. This is from Essence. This is in shade Black Widow, and I think it's a bit more similar to the one from MUA, but it's more like muted. I wouldn't say the formula it's the best, just because it takes a while to kind of like settle on your lips, but then whenever it's like dried down, it's fine, but it's gonna take a bit. Like, it looks a bit gray, but it has a kind of has a blue tint to it, I would say. I don't know, like more of a green bluish sort of vibe. So because I said like I would use sleek makeup highlighter palette in Disordered Rain, sometimes the cream shades on top of my lips, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go with the blue in the middle, and you get a metallic lipstick without actually buying one, because I feel metallic lipsticks are not the best investment sometimes. It really depends on the formula. I got some and the formula is really crappy, and it's just they're really thick sometimes and they don't feel really comfortable. So what I usually do is, if it fades away, I just go on top with the actual lipstick and I forget about the fact that I just put some metallic lips, because yeah, it's gonna fade away, it's not gonna stay put. But instead of like investing some money, I would just go like this. Like, this is what I did before. So I'm gonna finish off my video with a lipstick I really love. At least if you're not like myself and having the guts of going out like this, just experiment at least in a festival, because I feel that's a place where people should not give a goddamn F about what you're doing, what you're like dressing up with. And I mean, it should not be the case outside that event either, but I know not many people are like very bold with their makeup, which is definitely understandable. Everybody has their own style, so you should definitely it's fun to kind of like get out of your comfort zone sometimes. And yeah, I feel this is the way of getting yourself out of your comfort zone at Neversea Festival. At least this is what I would wear and do, but obviously feel free to do whatever you would like. And if you're actually going to the festival, well, enjoy your time, and don't spend too much time on your makeup. You're going there to have fun with your friends, not to stay for like hours getting ready. I would rather stay in the festival with maybe a lipstick and some mascara, rather than actually spending 2 hours on my makeup. I hope this was useful and relevant, and check out the other one if you haven't seen it already. If you have seen it, well, thank you. And yeah, I mean, I hope I'll see you to the next one. Bye.